morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we get to look at a really fun Pokémon VMAX, one we kind of knew was coming, because you should assume that every Pokémon that has a Gigantamax form is going to get a VMAX. But it's Flapple, and I'm going to be honest with you, I'm kind of into this one. Now, of course, our translation comes from the lovely Antoine Boulet. By this stage, I think you probably should be expecting that. And starting off, if we have a little bit of a look at the basics of Flapple V here, we've got 190 HP, which is, I'll be honest with you, not great for a Pokemon V. It's on the lower end. A retreat cost of 1, which gives you easy access to U-turn board, which is nice for a treat. And a weakness to fire, which with decks like, well, I mean, all the Welder decks and Center Scorch and all of that running around, it's not ideal. I think is probably a fair assessment. It is not the kind of weakness we like to have. In terms of being a grass Pokemon, you're not really hitting very much that's relevant for weakness, which is a little bit sad. But it does mean you get Rillaboom to accelerate energy, which is going to be genuinely relevant. We will get there in a moment. And it means you've got stuff like Turffield Stadium to go ahead and find your Pokemon. Or your evolved Pokemon anyway, which is pretty nice. And let's not forget we've got that Aroma Grass energy, which just prevents special conditions. Or Aromatic Grass energy it was translated as. Which is actually genuinely relevant. Because, well, this is a Pokemon that if you cannot get a one-hit KO, you are going to really struggle. And one way your opponent is going to try and hurt you here is with special conditions. And Aromatic Grass energy totally got you back. Now, in terms of the attacks here, I really like this first attack. 1 Grass energy, 20 damage. During your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon's attack costs 2 colorless energy more. Yes, I adore this. I absolutely adore this. This is going to be a game-winning attack. This is going to win games. I guarantee it. Because how many games have you played where your opponent has just enough energy to win? Yeah, not anymore, ladies and gentlemen. Not anymore. There are so many games that your opponent grabs their last energy or 2 to try and finish the game, but here you're making all their attacks cost 2 energy more. The 20 damage is low, but it has to be low because this is a phenomenal attack. I mean, this attack genuinely, legitimately scares me because if I'm playing my Excadrill deck and I come against this Flapple, I lose. Because Excadrill is a single energy attack. Which means that I've got to get free energy on an Excadrill now just to attack. And my opponent's hitting me for 40 because of my weakness. I know weakness isn't terribly relevant. I might be, well, I want to say the biggest Excadrill defender. I know I'm not the only one, but still. So they're 4-hit KOing Excadrill. But Excadrill's got to get free energy on to attack. Which means that it's just never going to work. It's just going to be so horrible. And if you miss an energy attachment, it's over. But take something like Zacian V, for instance. Zacian V attacks for free metal energy, which is quite expensive, but they've got their Intrepid Sword ability, draw free cards if any of metal energy you may attach it, and then they've got Metal Saucer as well, and between that they tend to get rolling. Not to mention, of course, you've got Arceus and Alga and Palkia, which will accelerate free energy when they attack. But here's the thing. Are they going to get 5 energy on regularly? How often are they going to be able to get 5 energy on? If you KO a Zacian and then attack into a fresh Zacian with this, they've got to get 5 energy attached before they can actually do anything. Yeah, that's going to be kind of awkward. I mean, what about ADP? ADP's GX attack, which we've all been hating for so long, now costs a metal, a water, and 2 colorless. Well, this can slow them down a bit, give you time to build up a nice little counter. Now, to be fair, your opponent can switch. If they switch to the bench and come active again, that's really bad because it only affects the active Pokemon, and if they go to the bench and come active again, they are essentially considered to be a new Pokemon, which is all sad and boo-hiss, etc. But if your opponent cannot switch out and back in, because remember they need to get out and then back in, you're laughing here. Zacian, ADP, it's loving it. Yeah, things like Center Scorch are still going to destroy you because they're going to try and get 4 energy on anyway. But especially, I mean, this is great in the early and the late game. Because in the early game, you're forcing your opponent to take a couple more turns before they can get rolling. And in the late game, if your opponent literally doesn't have 2 extra energy, you will win as soon as you use this attack, unless they can switch to the bench and become active again. As for the second attack, 1 grass, 2 colorless energy, 120. I don't like this attack. I think it kind of sucks. But on this particular Pokemon, I'm kind of down with it. Because this is a really specific kind of attack. This is a finishing attack. This is an attack which KOs. So what I'm going to do against something like a Zacian, and yes, I'm fully aware that Zacian has a resistance, which means that you're not doing any damage with the first attack, unless you can find ways to accelerate it up, as in the damage. But again, you're not looking to KO Zacian with Flapple V. What you are looking to do is buy time to build up something else that will KO it. That's the most important thing. Do remember, if they use Boss's orders, their attacks still cost 2 more. They've got to switch to the bench and become active. This second attack, this is what you're using to actually go ahead and take a KO. Although again, against Zacian, you will need a different kind of Pokemon. So you hit for 20 against something like an ADP, you hit for 20, 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 and then eventually they've got like 120 HP remaining, and then boom, wing attack. Now, obviously, with Flapple V, you've got to be playing Energy Denial. Team Yell Grunt is your friend, makes them put an energy back into their hand. Crushing Hammer is your friend to try and get rid of their energy, and any other tricks you've got to get rid of their energy are good. The thing to remember about Flapple is, it's not just this Pokemon, it is all of their Pokemon. The damage here isn't very high, although just while we're here, right, as a little side note, do remember actual Flapple from Rebel Clash, which lets you shuffle it into your deck while dropping 2 damage counters. So while you're just frustrating your opponent, you can be mucking around with other Flapple dropping damage, and that's kind of fun. I still think the damage output is low here. I really do think, the 20 damage with the first attack, 120 with the second, it is really low. And like I say, against something like Zacian with resistance, you are gonna struggle. But if you play Energy Denial with this, your opponent's gonna have to get 5 energy onto a Zacian to attack. And then if you can take that Zacian down, bearing in mind you'll be building up your bench as you go, they've then got to build up 5 energy on another Zacian. And all it's doing, it's buying you time. And I love this. I adore it. Second attack is only really good for finishing off here, but I really love the idea that you can just slow your opponent down and buy yourself time to set up. Or if they don't have enough spare energy, you just win. And if you thought that was annoying, yeah, Flapple VMAX is kind of annoying as well. In terms of your basics here, we got 320 HP, which is standard for a VMAX. You go up to a retreat cost of 3, which I'm going to be honest with you is a pretty high jump, and just, it's not good. And we got that same weakness to fire, and the weakness to fire kind of sucks, right? It's not particularly good. However, we do have a really nice attack. 1 grass, 2 colorless energy, 250 damage. This attack does 10 damage less for each damage counter on this Pokemon. Incidentally, this will actually get a KO on Zacian exactly, which I find funny, assuming you're undamaged, which we'll get to in a moment. 250 for free energy is great. We love Zacian doing 230 for free energy. This is 250, but you can use, for instance, triple acceleration energy, which will work quite nicely. I mean, you could legitimately play this with something like Welder. Because 2 of the energy are colorless, you can pay the energy in any way that you like. Just make sure that you can pay it every turn. Because you see, ladies and gentlemen, we need to be able to heal Flapple constantly. And sometimes this really isn't going to be a big deal. I mean, Life Forest Prism Star going away really, really hurts here. And similarly, the Shaman from Lost Thunder going away kind of hurts as well. But we saw Cheryl the other day. And if we didn't have Cheryl, I'd like this a lot less. But we do have Cheryl, so I am totally fine with it. Cheryl heals all damage from all of your evolved Pokemon, but discards all the energy attached to them. play Cheryl. And as soon as you're damaged enough that it's going to be a problem, you play Cheryl, and this is one of those decks where I really think you need Rillaboom. Rillaboom will attach 2 grass energy from your deck to one of your Pokemon, meaning you just need to attach 1 energy from your hand, aromatic grass energy to get rid of special conditions I would recommend here, and then, or even weakness guard energy if you are against a fire deck, and then all of a sudden, you're off and rolling. And I love the idea of this with Rillaboom and Cheryl. Because if you're not hitting for weakness, hitting 320 is really difficult. Something like an Eternatus just does not hit 320. So all you do here is you play Cheryl, Rillaboom the energy, play Cheryl, Rillaboom the energy, and it's actually awesome now that we've got Energy Recycler confirmed as getting a reprint in this set, because that's going to get all your energy back into your deck, and that's going to be lovely. We did see Cherim the other day, which lets you accelerate grass energy from your hand, but only to Pokemon that does not have a rule box. And Flapple V has a rule box, and Flapple VMAX has a rule box, and boo, etc. There are other ways to do it. Zarude V, when it attacks, will accelerate energy and completely heal. So you've got to be thinking about a combo with Zarude here. Zarude for 2 energy does 100 damage, and you get to attach 2 energy from your hand to your bench Pokemon, and you get to completely heal any that you did attach energy to in this way. So this will both get the energy on Flapple while completely healing, though does open up your opponent to start damaging it on the bench to lower its damage output. But even so, that's got to be a fun little combo that we're investigating here, and it means you're not constantly losing the energy. You just switch to the bench, attach 1 energy with Zarude, heal up, and round we go. And I do think that Memory Capsule becomes really important here, because Memory Capsule will allow you to copy the V attacks with the VMAX. And I've already told you, right, in the late game, I do see this first attack on Flapple V as being a game-winning attack. I think it is exactly the kind of attack that will, in a very literal sense of the word, win you games. So having 1 or 2 Memory Capsule to open that up in the late game is fun. So we're left with a Pokemon that can either just stop you attacking for turn after turn after turn, or works really well with all the new tricks to just heal up and hit really big damage. I feel pretty confident calling this a very annoying Pokemon. I'm giving the pair of them 4 wussies, and honestly, I think Flapple V might be the star here. I think that first attack on Flapple V, right, it's a single energy, use Aurora energy, tech in a few grass because you're playing Viridian Forest or something. I don't know, figure it out. Because the point is here that there are going to be plenty of games where you can look and your opponent is genuinely out of energy and you just go Flapple V, attach an energy, win the game. Although do make sure they're closer to decking out than you if you're going to do that. I adore these. These are very fun. But I'd like to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section, would ya? Go nuts. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.